Hi everybody. Sorry about the couple of minutes delay. I was just sorting my lighting out. Hope you guys are all right. Hi Bebo. Thanks for being here. So this is the conclusion to, sorry, I feel like my hair's looking a bit. Hey, bye guys. So yeah, this is the conclusion for, I'm just pulling up my notes by the way. The conclusion for the Alan and Farrow part 4. So yeah, I mean, this one, I've got a lot of notes, but I just want to quickly kind of read out the bits about the documentary and then get into a couple of other things that I mean, I found out a lot of things actually when I looked at different things online. There's a lot of things they don't really mention in the documentary, but what I'll do is I'll just kind of recap the documentary and then we can, if you guys want to get involved, we can kind of talk about the other things that are, you see, my lighting is just acting up today. Sorry guys, we can talk about all the other things that you guys may think maybe I've left out or anything like that. So right, this one, it starts kind of with the detective who the prosecutor who dealt with the case, who's basically talking about in the first couple of minutes talking about the fact that he's decided not to take this to court because he was the one who had the final word where the case would go. So the reason it never went to court, he says, Frank, his name is, if you guys remember from the last recap, the reason he doesn't go to court is because he felt like Dylan wasn't ready to go to court. When they had assessed her and kind of looked at her and observed how she was, they felt like this child had been through enough, Dylan Farrow, so they didn't, they thought they couldn't put her on the stand and expect her to be a viable witness for all of this. So hence why it never went to court. And then as quick as it comes, Alan does another press report and says, they found me innocent, they're dropping the investigation, they're not actually going to do anything, and takes full advantage of that moment, as he did, previously, finding the results of, the previous thing that they was looking for. I can't remember exactly what it was, you guys. But yeah, welcome everybody anyway. Like, share and subscribe. Sorry, I just went into the story straight away. I usually cover crime, if you don't know. So yeah, thanks for being here and I do appreciate the support. So thank you, Doreen. Hi, I hope you guys are all right. So yeah, then Mia decides to move the kids away from where they were so they can kind of keep a private life and stay away from the newspapers and whatever else was going on. So Dylan explains that she's kind of, suffered from a lot of depression and stuff like that. And she thought that, she was guilty of breaking up the family. As kids do, they always take the blame. So she always felt like it was her fault for breaking up the family. Hi, give me shelter. You all right? Thank you for joining us. So yeah, then it gets to little bits and bobs about the family, the fact that, Fletcher explains that that's her younger brother, that, everybody just went into survival mode. All the kids just coped the best they could with the situation, because obviously it's a lot going on within the family. The dad that you knew that raised you now all of a sudden is the predator that you've got to stay away from, can't interact with. You're going to counseling sessions just to talk about your well-being and your mental health as a kid, just to see how you're keeping up within the family. And then there's another sister that looks like she's a little bit disabled or has some sort of condition, who says, she never used to talk to Dylan about it. All her siblings never discussed this with Dylan. Woody was, the one sister said, the black, there's this one black girl who came on there. Her name is Quincy Farrow, is one of her adopted sisters. She said, it was like he who must not be named is how they treated Woody. They didn't speak about him, didn't mention him, nothing. So they just carried on and obviously tried to cope as much as they could. And then there's a snippet. Now, this is what bothered me. And I'm going to ask you guys what you guys think in a bit. They ask her, they ask Mia Farrow if she's dated since Allen. And she then answers and says, yes, I have dated, but I'd never bring them home. Now, I'm thinking, hold on, what? She says, I don't bring them home. And I quote, she didn't want a man falling for one of her beautiful children again. Now, she didn't want to bring a man home, but she didn't want them, and she didn't want them falling in love with one of her beautiful children yet. Falling in love. So let's just remember that, because I'm going to get back to that in a bit. And then, you know, Ronan Farrow comes into it. You know, he claims that basically Woody had approached him. Ronan Farrow is one of the other kids as well, the siblings. He had approached him and asked him, if you basically are on my side and go against your sister and your mum, which is Mia Farrow and Dylan, I will pay for your college tuition. You know, he's offering him a very comfortable life. So this child was, you know, being bribed by Woody Allen, but he refused. So he ended up siding with his mum. And that, again, we can get into that later on, because there's a lot of different, ideas on why he actually sided with his mum to this day. So I would like you guys to get involved in a bit. Yeah. So then it then carries on, and she then obviously, she always said Woody told her she wouldn't find a job in the US. So she ended up getting, you know, jobs in Ireland and other parts in Europe. So she was traveling around, just, you know, taking all jobs she could to make money, because, you know, she couldn't find a job in the US. Woody had closed all the doors, as he promised he would. So it then goes on, you know, Woody's career blows up. It gets to a part where he actually wins an Oscar. Everybody's praising him, you know, women, men, all the actors that we know in movies, you know. And then Ronan decides, as they're doing a tribute for Woody Allen, that he's going to tweet about the fact that why is Woody Allen not being looked at by being accused? Why is Woody Allen's case not being looked at? The accusations of a young 7-year-old girl that he's abused, you know, his daughter. Mind you, Ronan just put it out there and didn't necessarily make it a thing of Dylan or whatever. So as soon as Dylan had seen that, she then felt like she should speak up at this point. This is now in 2014. Now, shortly after that, Dylan decides to write a piece in a newspaper regarding her experience with Woody Allen, and, you know, her situation and what had happened to her as a 7-year-old. So a lot of newspapers declined to do it, but then Ronan had his connections and got the New York Times's reporter to actually push for, you know, the piece and publish it. So they published it, and then as it went on, you know, she did the open letter. Woody then responds with saying that Mia had pressured her to do this, and Mia had brainwashed her to do this and stuff like that. And then Moses comes out. Now, Moses, this is the interesting sibling, the one that's always spoke against Mia Farrow. He then comes out and says that Dylan's accusations are flat out made up. So he says that Mia used to actually abuse him, and that his life was horrific with his mom. So I'm wondering, did Woody pay him off the same way that Ronan Farrow allegedly says his dad offered him money to be on his side? Now, again, another question I'm going to ask you guys later on, did Woody pay him off? And then it kind of goes into Moses then carrying on and saying that he claims that Dylan didn't go into the attic that day. That's the day they talk about of the, you know, alleged molestation that day. He says she didn't go into the attic, and that he was keeping an eye on all the kids because he was supposedly the man of the house. So hi everybody. Hi Josh. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hey Ablavi. Hey Sly Cat. Sorry guys, I'm kind of trying to get through the thing so we guys can discuss it. So yeah, and then Moses, as Moses said, he said he was keeping an eye on everybody. Nobody went into the attic. But then in the same aspect, back at that time, he actually gave a statement to the police and said that he saw her leave the room and didn't see her come back until mommy came home from shopping. But now he's stating, now that he's older, he's saying there was no train in the attic, a train set, because that train set was always the center of the story, because Dylan said she'd focused on watching the train set while her daddy was doing whatever he was doing to her. So that was always repeated in the statement. So Yeah, he says there was no train set. Dylan said there was, but the police statements again say that the police had actually witnessed an electric train set kind of going round and round in the attic. So the police said there was one, but the brother is saying there wasn't. So I don't really know who's telling the truth. I'm only just reporting what was in the documentary, but obviously I'll give you guys my opinion and you guys can give me yours as we go, in a bit. We can get into it. You know how we do it. So yeah, then it jumps to Adrian Brody. Now, this is an actor. You guys can Google him, but he then speaks on the radio, right, and talks about the fact that people make mistakes, and so should we forgive him, says the lady on the radio. And he's like, makes excuses basically for Woody Allen, as they all do. Then you've got the Baldwin brother, supporting Woody. He's always done. Then you've got Woody and his PR team. Apparently, supposedly, this lady who runs this PR team, right, is supposedly a woman that is like harsh, like kind of like Scandal, Olivia, what's her name again? Olivia, I can't remember the last name. Olivia Pope, sorry. How can I not remember that? Yeah, with Olivia Pope, like, how she was a fixer of things. This woman led a good PR campaign for Woody Allen to push the narrative that he was pushing. So her name is Leslie Dart. She actually comes up in the documentary, and they talk about the fact that she was blackballing journalists if you wasn't doing the way a business the way that she liked. So, for example, he did actually. Adrian Brody was in the documentary speaking on that. Yeah, it's like that. I actually wrote his name down because I just wanted to be specific about the people that actually were there in support of him throughout all of this. Really, when we can all kind of see that obviously the truth is in between. There's her side, there's his side, and then there's the truth, right? And again, we can get into that in a bit. But yeah, back to that PR lady, she, right, apparently when people are trying to run stories at particular newspapers, she's the type of PR manager that has connections with these newspapers and controls what stories are being put out. So when they were putting out this narrative of the scorned woman and Mia Farrow is doing parental alienation and all of that type of stuff, she was the one pushing the narrative. When newspapers were trying to run other stories in support of Mia, she was the one who would run stories in support of Woody Allen and use her connections to blackball people. So in the courts, really, what they say is with the parental alienation, it's much easier to believe that the mom who gave birth to the kids abuses the children. So that's why a lot of the time, right, they showed some statistics. I didn't even know this, but a lot of the time in custody cases, all these kids are being put in care of the abuser, the alleged abuser. The person that's being accused of abuse is taking the kids home, and then a lot of the time, 88% of those children come back and report repeat abuse. So really, this whole thing being used, this strategy that's being used in the courts, a lot of the time is working against children being with their mom, when in a lot of cases, they should be with the mom and not with the alleged abuser. I'm not saying it's always the dad, but statistically, this is what I'm just giving you kind of the numbers. And then, right now, the Me Too movement now comes in. So when the Me Too movement comes in, all of a sudden the conversation gets raised about Woody Allen and his past and stuff like that. And, they talk a little bit about the Me Too movement and why is this not being spoken about? Remember, Dylan had only got the courage around that time in, a couple of years back, because the Me Too movement, I'm not sure, I think it started 2017, did it? Her story was, that piece in the paper was written in 2014. So Dylan had already, was trying to come out with the story and basically put her piece out there and make people believe her, because she was tired of people not believing her, is what she says. And then there's a little bit where Dylan meets with Frank, the actual original prosecutor in now as an adult, the one who decided not to put her on the stand. And he tells her, like, you shouldn't feel guilty about anything. It was my decision. And if any case, if there was any case he regretted, it was always her case. Out of all the cases he's done as a prosecutor, murders, you know, all sorts, he said it was always her case that he regretted. So they have a little catch up. And then all of a sudden, there's a wave of people now regretting having worked with Woody Allen. So there's this one actor called Griffin Newman, who was in his movie called A Rainy Day in New York. He had a little, you know, cameo or a scene in there. He then decides that to put out a newspaper, you know, piece about the fact that he's donating his salary that he received from Woody Allen to charity, because he feels like working with Woody Allen was not the right thing to do. So he then starts, like I said, this wave of people who then decide to donate their salary that they receive from Woody Allen to charity. So it's Rebecca Hall, Timothy Chalamet, Selena Gomez at one point donated her the money that she received to charity. Colin Firth, the British actor, decided to just cut loose from Woody Allen. You got another lady who apparently received a Oscar or a what do you call it? The Oscars, or yeah, it's not a Grammy. No, definitely an Oscar for being in one of Woody Allen's movies years ago, and she regretted working with him and apologized to Dylan in public in a newspaper. Then you've got Kate Winslet, the lady from Titanic, you know, the one that plays opposite Leonardo DiCaprio. She then decides to speak out and say, you know, it was wrong for her to work with him. So a lot of people now all of a sudden stopped, you know, regretted working with him and spoke out in support of her. Natalie Portman is another one who said, I believe you. Reese Witherspoon tweeted, I believe you, Dylan, in support of her. And then Sun Yi decides to speak out after all this time, after all these years, as his stepdaughter. You bloody married the man. You now decide to speak up. Now, she then allegedly says that Mia used to abuse her and call her moronic and call her all sorts of names, you know, and bully her and drag them by the hair and do all sorts of things. Now, Alan, the lady who did the piece in the magazine had said that Alan was there the whole time, chiming in and kind of giving his piece when she was doing the interview. So that I kind of found suspicious. You know, you can imagine that's your husband, I know, but lurking over your shoulder when you're trying to do an interview about your experience with this woman that adopted you, because really that had nothing to do with him, because Suni was there before he decided to. Sorry, the wind was making me feel a bit creeped out. The door was going a bit funny. Yeah, with this woman that supposedly adopted you. So that I found a little bit weird and a little bit controlling. Like, you can see the controlling tendencies. So Mia then claims that, you know, he weaponized the kids against her, and two of the kids, by the way, he weaponized, Moses and obviously Sun Yi. And she's talking about, I'm really scared. And the camera lady is like, are you fearful of him? And she's like, yeah. And I found that actually really hard to believe. I found that a little bit put on. Remember, she is an actress. Like, why are you now? You're all of a sudden fearful. I'm going to give you guys a couple of facts in the end, and then you're going to be like, what? Like, how could she be fearful? It's very contradicted to what she actually claims in this documentary. So now Dylan and Mia, now in the end, you've got a little family meeting between Dylan and Mia where they're playing. At this point, Dylan's actually a mom of her own. She has a daughter. She talks a little bit about her child and how, you know, obviously what it's like being a mom. And you see a little bit of a clip. I kind of forwarded that little bit. You see a clip of Mia and Farrow playing with the child. And then it jumps to Woody Allen always denying having done anything. Sun Yi and Woody have 2 kids between them. They are now married. They have been for years. Mind you, he never married Fia. He never married Mia. And then Moses declined to be interviewed for that documentary. He's always stood by Woody's side. Now, the couple of facts, right, that I found out that wasn't in the documentary, and I don't know if you guys know this, but let me know in the chat. Mia apparently had 3 children. Not 3 children. In total, she had more than 7 children. The children that she had were actually, right, let me just get this right. Mia had 3 Black and Asian adopted children who actually were estranged from her, and they ended up dying. I don't know if any of you guys know, but she's got 3 kids that actually died. So even though she was accusing Woody in 1992, right, of abusing Dylan, and her household was very unstable, Mia decided to adopt Tam, another Asian child who I think had a few issues or whatever. And 8 years later, in 2000s, that Tam Farrow decided to take an overdose. No, Tam Farrow, let me not get confused between who decided to take an overdose. Tam commits suicide after an argument with Mia Farrow. She actually commits suicide, and they find her dead in the house. And then there's another child. Then 8 years after that, I don't know what's with the number 8, but it's just 8 years after that again, her other Asian American daughter, the one that I mentioned in the previous episodes, called Lark Previn, the one that she had with Andre Previn, she suffered from a drug addiction, takes an overdose, and dies, right? By the way, while being estranged from her parents, she takes an overdose, and she has no contact with Andre or Mia, right? And then in 2016, Mia's other Indian American adopted son, Thaddeus Farrow, ends up committing suicide and shoots himself dead. So that's 3 children that she's lost that's committed suicide of some sort. So I found that really weird. And then another fact, she accused Woody Allen of doing this to Dylan in August, 1st of August. But there was a movie that they had booked to be filmed with Woody and Mia in the beginning of August, the week after. Now, on the 1st, she accuses him, but then on the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, they were supposed to be filming something. She then contacts Alan and says, are we ready to film the movie? So I'm like, hold on. Why is this woman asking this man to film a movie, even though she's made these accusations? And those are the kind of contradicting facts that I found out, that Mia would make accusations, but still try to work with him, or still try to some sort like connect with him and stuff like that. So I don't know if this woman was always obsessed with the fact that he never married her but married Soon Yi. She always says that she always wanted Soon Yi to come back, and she's kept her Christmas stocking for her for the past so many years and thought Soon Yi would return home, but she never did. So that I found weird as well. And it's just right. So now I'm going to go into the questions. Let me just turn my light on. I'm going to go into the questions, and yeah, you guys can get involved. I'll drop the link while I do the questions, and then see if anybody wants to get into it. Right. So do you guys believe her or Woody? Because right now, I know in the past episodes, I've kind of covered the, how should I say, I've covered the documentary in a way of that it looks like I'm on Mia's side, or we're not on Woody's side in a way, right? Naturally, because we believe the story is how it kind of came across. But I am kind of in 2 ways. I really don't think everything Mia says is the truth. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but do you guys believe Mia is my first question. And obviously it goes for both ways. Do you guys believe him? Because we kind of covered him a little bit, right? Why didn't they mention the other adoptive children? Like, why didn't they mention them in the documentary and even honored the fact that they were there and they died? Like, in remembrance of I do want to remember my 3 children that passed away in unfortunate circumstances, right? Like, I don't know what, it's like the narrative was always to, he's guilty, look, if he did do this to his daughter, right? she should get justice, but it doesn't give Mia the right to make the narrative of he did this, like, where were you? Why are you not paying attention to your children? Why are you not, more aware of how, like, emotionally, if your children's attitude have changed, or if they felt a way of, I don't know, like, because she did say the child used to run away when he used to come in. How do you not notice these certain things? Another question I've got is, where is it? Hold on. Did Mia succeed with how the narrative work for her, do you think? Or will this make people look into her a bit more? And the last one is, why would she do the last conversation on camera, the bit with the granddaughter, and after everything that happened to Dylan? You would want to keep your child private. That's all I'm saying. Like, why put your child on camera when you're having a little meeting with your grandmother? She's playing with her grandmother. Like, I don't get it. So yeah, I mean, you guys can chime in. I'm gonna bring up Ablavi. Go on, Ablavi. What do you think?
Okay, I don't know if you talked about this. I did not appreciate them putting Michael Jackson and Bill Cosby in this too.
Yes,
I thought that was very manipulative, because I'm not going to get into the Michael Jackson thing, because whether he did it or did not, now I feel differently than other people on that. I'm not even going to get into the Bill Cosby thing. My biggest problem with Mia Farrow is she needing to be a saint. I can't. Why are you so in the need to save everybody? Like, you have no formal education. You're not a doctor. I don't understand celebrities that are always for activism. And yet, like, granted, activism is great. Activism is nice. But with her, it just always seems like contractual. Then with Woody Allen should have been canceled. I don't feel no bad for none of these actors, because Penelope Cruz, Scarlett Johansson, Javier, whatever.
Yes, they were on there. Yes.
Yeah, they've been defending him for years. And this is the thing. Woody Allen is the epitome of basic. He's the epitome of boring. I can't stand his movies.
Hi, Leslie. Thanks for joining us.
And then they brought on that French director. I don't remember what his name was. But remember that French director that raped that girl that was 14? And they allow him to still live on this earth, knowing that he raped that girl. Like, there's no question that he raped her. And they haven't extradited him. And he lives in France. Are you kidding me? You should have been... So y'all can kill people. You can get to Saddam Hussein, but you can't get this French designer.
Thank you. But see, again, getting to Saddam Hussein is works for their narrative and their propaganda. So it's the end. The end. What should say? The end mission is taking over the country for its wealth and resources. Now, So them taking Woody Allen down, to them, Hollywood is making less money. Think about it. He makes them a lot of money.
If he wasn't in the mix, somebody else would be making a lot more money for them.
Exactly. Yeah, like his movies aren't like really blockbusters. He's more like critically. So he's one who's going to win Oscars. He's going to win the awards, but he's not a box office king.
I don't know. I've said it from day one. I think Mia Farrow should go to jail right along with Woody Allen. I think they're both disgusting human beings. I didn't know about her kids ending themselves. I didn't know about that. So that was new to me. But she's just, there's something weird about her. Like, there's something really, really off about her. And I don't know.
I agree. After I looked into it and found out about these other 3 children that died, and they were estranged from her, mind you. It's not like she was there with them and stuff, right? She wasn't there, helping her with her drug addiction or anything like that. So,
who she was there for? She was there for Rowan. She was there for Dylan. She was there for all her, I hate to say it, she was there for all her Caucasian adopted children.
That's what they keep saying.
Caucasian too.
Yes.
What?
Dylan's Caucasian as well.
No, but she was there for her after everything. You understand what I'm saying? After everything happened or whatever else. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you children, you're not,
You know
No,
what?
so what?
I hate to say this, but what
Yeah.
makes me suspicious about this is Angelina Jolie is out in the court systems saying the same thing about Brad Pitt. So I'm really, like, I'm not trying to say people are lying, but I'm really trying to see what is the need to adopt so many children.
She had 14
different ethnicities. Why?
Yeah.
Like 14. Okay, yes. This is another one. Let me go to my screenshots. That's another one that that I looked into. The reason she basically, what they were saying is the fact that Mia would, this is the one. In the 1970s, the Vietnam War era was going on. So she then adopted the Asian kids. Then apparently in the 1980s and the 90s, it was the drug wars era. She adopted black children. And then in the 90s, this is the 1980s and the 90s, it was the
black children?
Oh, my bleeding heart.
They were crack babies. She would call them, they are crack babies. So she would adopt crack babies. Okay. And then in the 90s, it was the moral panic. And she claims her child is molested by a satanist, which is Woody Allen, because she called him satanic and evil and whatever. Now, so what they say, and then what is it? In 2006, she then publicly says, Mia Farrow publicly says she forgives Woody Allen, but she'll never forgive Soon Yi. That's another thing that makes me think there's always been this jealousy thing with her. And then on top of the fact that he married Soon Yi, I think that was the cherry on the cake for her mentally, because she was never good enough to get married to, but her stepdaughter was. Do you get what I mean?
I don't buy into the whole bleeding heart narrative. Like, really, what are you trying to make up for? What have you done that is so horrible that you feel now that you have to save the world? Because
and then this is what they're saying and then the Me Too era came along. All of a sudden, she forgot that she forgave him in the past, and now is accusing him of assault, sexual assault, right? So all these things, it's weird. And then 2020, Black Lives Matter. She supports the Black Lives Matter movement, but she can't remember her children's names, her black children's names. So this woman seems to be, I don't know. I didn't want to compare her to Michael Jackson, but as she was sitting there talking in that timid voice, I feel like psychologically something else is going on as to what we're actually hearing that's coming out of her mouth. Do you understand what I mean?
I want charges to be brought on her and a full investigation done, because there's something very, very off about that woman.
Yeah.
Hi, Diali. How you been? You haven't been here. I thought you went on a little vacation.
You're muted.
I thought you met some man in the Mediterranean and just left
with tattoos. Diali, you're muted.
Oh, she might not be at the computer.
Sorry, I'm back. Sorry, that I will have to tell you all about it backstage.
Okay. No, but this is the thing with her. Oh, go ahead, Diali.
Oh yeah.
But my thing on this is, I've always said from the outset, Mia Farrow is doing damage control, because this is coming out. You know, there are going to be charges eventually. You know, probably not straight away, but eventually. And the more and more a documentary sort of brings it to the foresight of everybody watching.
Yeah.
There's a DA out there that will say, why is he not in jail?
You know what? Yeah, I'm glad that you brought Frank Sinatra, because the foolishness, but then too, you have to look at the time period. Because remember, when Mia Farrow was out, like, for instance, Elvis. Now, I'm not going to get into Elvis, but him and that wife that he had, and he was with her since she was 14, like, maybe she thinks that's okay behavior.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's not normal, because I wouldn't have my 14-year-old daughter marrying a grown-ass man. No way.
But when you look in Hollywood, a lot of people got married very young to grown adults.
They did back in the day. It wasn't, and this is why it was so like, oh, he's with his stepdaughter. He loves her. The love You see, when he started using the word love, his PR team pushed that narrative of it's love. They should be together. They're not, biologically connected, so they can be together. And then before you know it, everybody was like, that's his wife. Like,
you know what
wasn't that big a deal, right?
They're on the payroll. They're on the payroll, and they don't want to lose their little job. But behind their backs, they're saying this man is grooming this child because she was a child. That he came into this woman's life, watched her start growing up, watched her start developing like a young lady, and thought, yeah, she's right for the picking. She was a child, and he abused his position and groomed her. He groomed her.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. You can't.
And she didn't do any better by assaulting her instead of like coddling her. Like,
and mind you,
when she
let me throw this in there. Mia Farrow actually went to, where is Polanski hiding again?
France. Roman Polanski's in France.
Right. She went to France and went to court to be there in support of him.
Okay, this is another thing. What if she was part of, because remember, her mother was an actress and her father was a director. What if he was part of the sex trafficking ring, and she had been abused as a child, so she doesn't understand that this behavior is not acceptable, and she really thinks that she's fighting with her children for these old men.
Right.
But that's not what she said, because she said she wouldn't bring a man to her house because she didn't want them to fall in love with one of her beautiful daughters. She didn't say,
Thank you.
I want my children to be safe.
But
I'm saying, what if her mindset isn't like that? What if she sees young girls as competition? Because women do that.
Well, she clearly does. She does, though. I think she does.
She did.
I think she does because.
So I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go on, Diali.
The first thing she did when she found out the young girl was doing a thing with him or whatever they were doing, she slapped this girl in her face. You don't slap a child in her face. You grab that child and you hug that child and you think, oh, OMG, how am I going to fix this? This child, I brought this man into the house to abuse this child. She did not think that. She saw Sumyi as competition. She did.
And when she actually went to the orphanages, she would always bring a camera crew with her. That's another thing I didn't understand. Why wouldn't you just do it in private? Why do you have to always? Yeah, she would always use that as a thing. Yeah.
I don't know.
If you're giving to charity, I'm sorry, if you're giving to charity, any kind of charity, or if you're giving a homeless person something to eat, you don't take a selfie with that homeless person and say, I've just bought, $1 worth of food for this person. You're giving because it's a good thing to do and you're being kind. She wasn't being kind. She was building herself up and making herself out to be the second coming when she wasn't. She was a typical, young white woman that come along and she's going to save all these children of different races. That's all she was doing.
But
in my opinion.
Getting back to what Ablavi was saying about the ring, you look at Angelina Jolie, wasn't that the setup of her parents too? Wasn't her mother an actress or a model or something and her father was a director?
Well, no. Her father is John Voight, and he ain't S because she was sitting there sleeping with her brother allegedly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
John Voight didn't even raise her. I don't think. He didn't raise her.
But her mother allowed her to have a 20-year-old boyfriend when she was 14.
Oh, you see all of that? That just sounds like trailer trash. Like, just lose, just do what you want. Mommy's over there. You're in the back with your boyfriend. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And the other thing that I didn't like about her, and I'm talking about Jolie, why do you have to assign gender-specific roles to children? I'm sorry. I don't know any 5-year-old that's like saying, I want to dress like a boy. I'm transgender. Like, no, kids don't say that.
Now, Leslie,
they like what they like.
Now, Leslie, don't get into that. That's a whole nother conversation. And let people do what if they're not physically harming their children, let them do what they want to do. Because we all know there are people who like dress to their little boys as girls, and that's nothing new. If the child is a town boy, let him be a town boy.
I was. But
listen, I remember we did it. I did it to my brother's son with his wife. He was so upset. Oh my God, we put him in a little cute dress. He was only like 2 years old. It was so cute. But he was so angry, like, don't do that. You know what I mean? But some people feel very particular about those type of things.
Yeah, because well, each to their own. I don't want to go and upset anybody in the comments by saying anything on
no, let's not, Diali.
Yeah,
thank you.
But let's talk about Mia. So Mia got into the industry when she was essentially a preteen. So getting into the industry briefly, probably they broke her out. So she probably is thinking that a 13-year-old girl is primal, because that's the ages a lot of these men like. So when her child becomes 12 or 13, she's always like, I wouldn't even be surprised if she was in on it. Because and she doesn't see nothing wrong with it. Because she's like,
thank you for saying that. You just made me think of something. Right. Do you guys remember me mentioning a girl named Chris Enkelhardt, who was in one of his, who said that Manhattan, the movie Manhattan, was based on her and him? Yes, because she was a college student. Now, I found out that apparently Mia Farrow had a sexual relationship with that girl, and they used to have threesomes, him, her, and the girl. So this whole thing about Mia always being jealous of that young being replaced by the next best thing, I think that was always a thing, an obsession with her. And then hence why she never forgave Sun Yi, but you can forgive him. But now with the Me Too movement, all of a sudden, he's the man that abused your child again. Come on. Can you imagine? Yeah. Come on, Dylan. We've got to do this again. The same way she probably put her on camera asking her this. We don't know. We don't know, I know that the first couple of episodes, sorry, Diali, I know the first couple of episodes, I think I kind of felt like I believe her outright. Look, I believe the child, but at the same time, I think the Woody and Mia thing is she's suspicious as well. I don't think it's necessarily him all the way. If he did do these things, they're wrong. We know they're wrong. He should be prosecuted for that. But on her side, if she has been brainwashing the children and doing all those things, she should be jailed as well. Simple. She can't be seen as fully innocent, can she? Through all of this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the timeline of when the accusations from Dylan and the thing with Sun Yi was right after the Dylan accusations.
I agree. Yeah.
So what if she knew before and she was just using this as a setup?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think maybe she was always after the power maybe that Woody had, and maybe she thought she could just inherit everything if she brings him down, if you know what I mean. But she was never married to him, though. This is the thing, like, where was the motive?
That's where the jealousy comes in. That's exactly where it comes in. And that's why she's not to be completely believed, because in my words, she's complicit with all of this.
Right.
She's trying to take the smoke off herself.
I think it's interesting. I think you really have to know her. So first she was with Frank Sinatra when she was young, right?
Yeah.
And there was a 30-year age difference. Then she went to this composer who she cheated with. She was 25 at the time. He was 41. And she got pregnant with his twins, and so he left his wife for her. So he's always had 10-year or more gap. I really do believe she doesn't see what she's doing as wrong. I think she sees herself as being hurt, and she can't get over her own hurt.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have a different perspective on it than I did at episode 2, and even last week. I definitely have changed my mind.
I don't know, whichever way you look at it, Dylan is still a victim, whether it's of her mother.
Yes, 100%.
He's a victim. That poor kid, like, he went through hell. If she coached her to the point, and it's possible to plant a narrative into a young child's mind and have them believe.
Yes,
it's absolutely possible. Did I think that she did it? I don't know. I can't say that.
Yeah.
Only her and God and Woody know, and Dylan. I don't even think Dylan would know it.
But see, then this goes to the Woody thing, which is bothering to me. After he had been He didn't get convicted, but after the adoption agency saw that, and this is another thing about Woody Allen, where I know he knows what he's doing is wrong. The fact that he keeps adopting children and not having biological children tells you something, because he and Sung Yi could have had children, but she was in her 20s when they got married. And
but he was also in his 60s.
But come on, he saved some sperm. You know, he's had the best for years. So for them to not, I'm thinking when he lost interest in Mia Farrow is when she had the child. I don't think he wanted a biological child. And I'd be really curious to know what the relationship was with Ronan, you know, before he was Woody Allen, before he was, you know, all this happened. Did he have some sort of feeling about his son? Because his son was a genius as well. So this is multi-layer. His son is very smart. He's a Rhodes Scholar. So, you know?
Yeah. You mean Ronan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was in this quite a bit where he was talking and stuff. And I actually, I actually like the fact that the way he explained I mean, do you guys believe that Woody Allen tried to bribe him? Do you think he's telling the truth when he said that?
Yeah.
That, you know, he'll pay for his tuition and stuff?
Yeah. No smoke without fire.
Because don't be fooled by him hating him now. I'm willing to bet everything on my last dime. When he dies, he'll give everything to Ronan. On my last dime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we will have to come back to this if he died and that actually happened. Bloody hell.
Yes, because I'm
off topic though, and related to Ronan. Does anybody know that that Puerto Rican spiritual guy? His name was Walter Mercado. Ronan looks just like him.
Thanks, Leslie.
He was like the guy that would come on TV and like do like the horoscopes and stuff.
No, I'm too young.
Looks just like him.
I'm too young.
I'm gonna Google a picture. He looks just like Walter Mercado.
That is funny. But yeah, I mean, look, there was one did you guys watch it, by the way? You saw the whole thing? Right. Who was that sister? Hold on, I've written down her name. The one that looked like she had an issue with her eyes. It was a small bit.
It looks like a lion, Leslie. I can't see nothing.
Oh, sorry.
You guys are ridiculous.
Oh, no, that don't look the same. What is that? Yo, Leslie, you can get your eyes.
No.
He looks like Liberace. Are you kidding me?
He looks like Walter Mercado. There's another documentary about him.
I'm sure he's a Korean pop star that you've just put up there.
There's a little Puerto Rican guy that used to read horoscopes on TV, and he was like the guru of like every Latino household. There was that in telenovelas.
So go ahead, Miss Nabia. Who are you talking about?
Her name is Min Turnbull. Min.
I don't know who that is.
Right.
Min.
I'm gonna hold on. Can I think I'll be able to put her on. But yeah, she's one of the other sisters who was in the documentary. Let me see if I can find her picture. Who was in the documentary, and she spoke a little bit. But when I looked at her, I thought, who is she? Like,
she's one of the new ones.
How come they didn't speak about her? Right, I'll show you guys now. Hold on. Where did you say it was again? Share.
Yeah, you go share. And then you click the share, and then it's gonna pop up the tab.
Okay.
Yes, the duo. What's the duo's name, Leslie? That's who he looked like.
You see it?
The duo in Vegas. Remember when the lion bit the guy? That's what that Puerto Rican guy looked like.
Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Right, you can see her, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's her. She spoke.
Oh, that's her daughter too.
See?
Yeah.
She has a disability, hasn't she? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, anyway, she's the one that spoke. And what was I going to say? Yeah, she said a little bit. And I thought, who is she? Because she wasn't really mentioned. But why is this woman always... Oh, let's stop the screen. Why is this woman always adopting children that may have something wrong with them? Or like, I find that really weird. And they say like she used these kids like cleaners and workers around the house. There's 14 kids, you know, not just 7.
I don't see nothing wrong with that. If I got 14 kids in my house, they cleaning, they washing. Yeah, we're gonna have some chores.
Oh my God. That's not what I meant.
14 kids? Yeah.
Well, that's what they say. Like, she's got a lot of kids. It's not just the ones
that's the nanny service and the maid service. Yeah.
I cannot do that. I swear.
You telling me you have 14 kids and they not gonna do nothing in that house? Please.
I would not have 14 kids. That's what I'm telling you. But
now I don't mean Oliver Twist them. But yeah, they could scrub some walls, wash some dishes.
Scrub some walls? What are we in the 1900s?
You don't wash your walls?
Listen.
Yeah, especially when you got little kids. You got to always wash them.
Yeah.
I don't wash my walls.
You're going to have to wipe them. Not necessarily wash them. That's a different thing.
Them. Soap, water. Wash them.
But listen, let's get back to Mia Farrow. Did you guys think... Why did you think that they didn't include the deaths of all those kids and include those kids that died?
Because they don't want to take the spotlight. Sorry.
Clear narrative, and it's skewed towards Mia Farrow. Like they want to make Woody look like whether he is or he isn't. They really wanted to bring the point across that he's a child molester and everything else. That's the message they wanted to bring out.
Yeah.
Listen, and I don't fault her even if she's being conniving because we should have been rid of Woody Allen for years. So good riddance. Have fun in the grave.
Well, that's if they actually. Sometimes, like we all know, it can be years and years before. Right now, he has too many connections for him to even be taken to court and stuff like that. Like with the Yale New Haven Hospital, that child center or whatever it was, they know that he knows people that work there at that Yale New Haven place. So it's like he had too many connections to start with. He still has too much money.
I'm sitting here eating my jelly beans, waiting for Ghislaine to speak. That's all I want. Because money are going to roll.
Yes, thank you, Denzel. I knew you. Listen, the bottom line is Mia Farrow was auditioning for the role of her life. And she got it. I don't know why something happened to the girl, but she don't care. I'm still upset with her when she came after Naomi Campbell. But that's for another day.
Who, Mia Farrow?
Yeah.
Go on. I didn't know about that. So you could fill us in because we need to talk about her and him and Don now. Because it's been 4 episodes.
Mia Farrow Naomi got into something. So Charles Taylor, the only reason I know this is because I'm Liberian. Charles Taylor, the former Liberian president who was kind of a dictator, very bad. And in Liberia, there's a lot of diamonds. They have a lot of diamond mines. So he gifted Naomi Campbell a very huge diamond. It was big. It was like, it was like a little puppy, when it's first born. Big diamond. So Mia Farrow told them, because he went to jail for this, and he said that Naomi Campbell was gifted this diamond and that she needs to give it back. And that she is part of the drug war type, like the Blood Diamond stuff. Y'all seen Blood Diamond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he was doing. And she said that she needed to give the diamond back and that she was promoting tragedies for African people. And Naomi Campbell said, I don't know anything. Like, you should see her in the interviews. So do you want to talk about Mia Farrow says, no, she didn't see that. And I was
really?
Yeah, because remember the blood diamond at that time, I think it was like late 2000s. It was a big topic.
Is this in Darfur?
Yeah. No,
it was in Liberia. He was the Liberian president, and they were trying to get him to go to jail. But he had been gifting a lot of, remember when they used to get upset when dictators used to have Beyonce, they used to perform for these people. Yes, and Mia Farrow was the one that brought it up with Jennifer Lopez and all of that, and how people were allowing these dictators towards them. And so she said that Naomi Campbell had this huge diamond that's in the shape of a little puppy. Something,
like actually a puppy.
No, Leslie, please act smart.
It's actually I'm asking you.
No, the size. So it's like this in your hand. It's like your iPhone, but in a diamond form.
Yeah. But it's shaped into a puppy, you said.
I thought maybe they carved it into a puppy shape. I don't know.
Who would want a puppy-shaped diamond?
Yeah, it was the size of, the Fabergé, I can't remember, Fabergé egg.
Yeah.
It was that, because I remember it at the time, and it was the blood diamonds, and Naomi knew full well where it came from, but she knew where it came from.
She probably still has the diamond, but
I would keep it. I'm not giving it back for.
Yeah. So there are, like, Sierra Leone is right by Liberia, so they're all over the coast of West Africa, so they all have these things. But he was a horrible dictator, and she said that she was promoting dictators, being Captain Save-A garden tool. And Naomi knew full well she had it. And then she was the one who was like, don't perform for dictators and stuff like that. Yeah, she's been on this savior complex for years. I really do believe the story King Kong was written by somebody that's like her, because she just always thinks she needs to save somebody. It's ridiculous.
Apparently they got the diamonds from rebels in Sierra Leone. So here we are. This is not no joke. I remember she went to court. She had to go to court, didn't she? Yeah.
You know what's disgusting about that? What's disgusting about that is that Naomi is the granddaughter of an African prime minister. You would think she would have more sense to get involved in, somebody who gifted a blood diamond, knowing it was from people's literally blood and sweat.
Well, no, she would take it because that's what her family is part of. If you're part of the ruling class.
But it's still bad. It's still bad. She still shouldn't have taken it.
She shouldn't have taken it, but Mia Farrow, she made this huge deal upon it. And I was like, not that she shouldn't have, it was a good thing, but it just made me see her as always having an opportunistic vibe.
Yeah.
Mia Farrow just needs to be quiet. Mia Farrow doesn't have a clue what she's talking about, and she's coming out now. She's tarnishing Woody's name as much as she can because she's got the support to tarnish his name. But what about the role that she played? She is a biological mother and she's an adopted children. She's a mother. She should know when them children were in distress.
Thank you.
You know when a child is different. You know when a child is different. But why? And the other question I had to ask. The other question I had to ask, if you thought this man was such an abusive person, to you and to the children, why did you continue to work with him?
Yeah. Or continue to try to work with him. She would call him after she'd accused him and and Woody was like, what do you mean work on a movie? You've just accused me of abuse. I'm not working with you again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that in itself was crazy. And then the statement she made about she didn't want anybody falling in love with her beautiful children. That to me is the crazy. I would never say I'm not bringing a man home because I don't want him falling in love with my beautiful daughter. I mean, no, that's just not that's not a statement that I would make as a mother. I'm not bringing if this had happened before, which fingers crossed, never happens, never will. But if this had happened and you had, previous, then for you, the best thing for you to say is, I'm never bringing a man home, because I could never trust myself to be in that predicament with those type of end results that my child is telling me that they've been touched. I'm not putting myself in that predicament. The risk is too big. But falling in love with one of my beautiful children,
jealousy,
you would never say that.
Jealousy. This man did not want to marry her. He had no intentions of marrying her, but he quickly married the adopted daughter. And the only reason why he did that was to take the heat off him. Yeah. He took the heat off him by saying, look, it's not just lust. It's not pedophilia. It's real, true love. And hence I'm marrying her. That's the only reason why he did that. That was all a game play. All a game plan from the
start. And if you see it, if you look at it though, like honestly, Woody Allen has historically had a type. That type is the 17-year-old. Yeah, he's a very little, awkward, insignificant man. For whatever, like just if you met him on the street and he wasn't a director, you'd be like, whatever, like you're a little man. Like you wouldn't think twice about him. And he's attracted to these really young people. And, like Mia Farrow, probably that's why she talks the way she does. She wants to make herself so childlike,
Yeah. 100%. She comes across very soft and timid. And, like when she said she was in fear, I just thought that was a joke. You're in fear of who? The man that you try to still have a job with, the man that you said, are you in love with her, or are you in love with me? Are you in love with Soon Yi, or do you love me? And it's like, who says that? It would be a cut, dead, finished, done deal situation. You're with you're with my adoptive daughter. I don't want nothing to do with you. And you're accusing him of abusing the little girl. So it would be a done deal situation. The connection. Any contact would be cut right then and there.
That's right,
How was he allowed to, after all these allegations, after all these years, after everything that's been said about him, how was he allowed to adopt children with Soon Yi?
Because money talks and ep4.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Once you've got money and money comes into play, it's easy. Because remember, he's not only a rich man, he's a rich Caucasian man. Now, if Bill Cosby was going around adopting little white children and little white girls, the authorities would have stepped in straight away and said, it's weird.
Yeah, I agree. Give me shelter. That's what I found weird as well. If you've got a kid, I don't care if it's 1, 10, 15. If a man tells you from the start, get-go, from the dot, I don't want... I'm not really hands-on with the kids. I don't really want anything to do with the kids. I'll be there for you, but no, I'm not really interested in the kids. Bye.
Shout out to Give Me Shelter for that little picture. I see you.
Ooh, nice.
You out here living your best life.
For her to say, I agree. Yeah, it is messed up. How could you date a man who tells you he doesn't want nothing to do with the kids? And she carried on, stayed with him. That in itself, I don't know, actually, that's a good point. Does polio affect the brain? I don't know. No. I could Google it right now.
No, it doesn't. She don't got no excuse. People been getting polio for years. Didn't FDR have it? No.
I found something. It says in the most severe cases, the polio virus attacks the motor neurons of the brainstem, reducing the breathing capacity and causing difficulty in swallowing and speaking. Without respiratory support, the bulbar polio can result in death. The virus can result in death. But she had it and then she got better, didn't she?
She can walk. She's fine. She did not have a severe case.
It's not the polio. It's the R-ing of children. That's her problem. And not getting professional help.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's like a Peter Pan. Like, it's really disturbing. Like,
but
she wants to be a kid.
Most people who are pedophiles were actually abused as children. which is interesting. So they put their trauma towards another child, which is
right.
And when she was describing like her relationship with her father and how after her brother died and her father became an alcoholic, like I would like to know what else happened during that time. Because she was like, yeah, my childhood was interrupted when my brother died because then my father started drinking and all this other stuff, you know, like.
Yes. Yeah.
That's never know.
In the library, you know, like there's something really wrong there. Because I mean, like, and then you go and marry Frank Sinatra, who's like 1,000 when you're like 12. You know,
yeah. Where was her parents? Where were her parents when she was marrying this old man? Where was her mom? Where was her mom when she was married?
Her father had died, and her mother was a starving artist who worked on Broadway. So when she married Frank Sinatra, they were seeing that as a come up. They were seeing it as providing money for the family. Like I said, when you in desperate times, we all can sit here and say, oh, you know, I wouldn't do it. But when you out there and you hit your knees on that hard pavement and you've been doing it for a few years, you think differently.
I don't know. I'd be going to the food bank to collect some food for my youngins. I don't think I would sell anyone of them.
You say that as somebody that's not like, listen, we all have to be honest. Though I would never want to be a lady of the night, if push comes to shove, you got to do what you got to do.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the specific situation where she basically sold her daughter to Frank Sinatra.
But mama was a diminishing asset, and young daughter was there, and mama was tired of being on the streets, on rolling around in the sheets, you know?
Yeah.
You got to get the most money. And when Frank Sinatra comes and ringing, because remember, he was hot.
Right.
Yeah.
She thought she was doing better. And we can't be mad at that because look at well, never mind. I'm not going to be messy tonight.
No, go on. No. Go on. I want to know.
I like it when you're messy.
I was going to say, look at the Kardashians and how they sold out their youngest child. So like it still happens to this day. I mean, look at how they all sold out to the derelicts in the NBA, the rappers,
Yeah.
They didn't have to sell out that little girl at 16, but they did it because they saw her to make $1 billion. They were like, sis, you're gonna be abused, sorry, but you're gonna be a billionaire. Now Mia's fault on it was that she didn't get any money. What a shame. But I think if she had gotten money, she would have felt differently. But because she relied on him for money.
Yeah, but to be fair to the Kardashians, you remember that tape, that sleazy tape was out there anyway. Why not capitalize on it? Why not just say, okay, if you're going to put it out there, you know, why not make a few coins from it? Because it was big coins that put them where they are today.
But I'm saying that younger sister, they sold out. They sold that younger sister out.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. Oh no.
Yeah, she was 16. So like that's and then look at what is her name? The one on Stranger Things. How they selling her out to allegedly Drake, you know? So
who is that? What's her name again? She's
Millie Brown.
She's Canadian, right?
No, I don't know what she is. You know, they come from here or there, but I'm saying this is part of their culture. Their culture is, hey, we want young people. Want young poom poom. We're old men. We're dirty and slimy. If you're not gonna give the poom poom, you're not gonna have a career. Look at Gwyneth Paltrow. They was even trying to rob her, and she was like established. So unless the women who are in there are willing to speak up and are okay with being diminishing, because like the first person who does this is gonna lose everything. The first person is like, no, I'm not going to do it. You're going to end up broke and desolate.
Yeah.
And that's something that most people don't want. So, like, I can't blame I can because I have the privilege of not being in that position. But if I were in that position, I don't know how I would feel about it.
Yeah.
No, I agree. These people, I mean, like the way Scarlett Johansson was speaking in such high regard of this man, and then you had what's her name, and I actually liked her.
She's a talentless.
What was the movie? The lady who was in Annie. One of his first movies, Annie. But I don't remember her name. I need to see her name because she's been in a lot of.
Scarlett.
She's been in a lot of. thingy movies,
Anne
family
Hathaway.
movies that I like.
Anne
No, not
Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. It's the other. It's the old one. The old Anne Hathaway. What's her name?
Hold on.
That was the old Anne Hathaway.
She looks like Anne Hathaway when she's like 70. That's what she looks like. She's always wearing the turtlenecks. What's her?
Hello. Thank you, give me shelter.
Yes, the turtlenecks.
What is her name?
Diane Keaton. Thank you, Doreen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Diane
Diane
Keaton. Yes, thank you so much, Doreen.
So she's old Anne Hathaway.
She's praising. No, Anne Hathaway is way too young. She's praising him because she was in one of his big movies, Annie, back in the day. And it's like when I looked at her, I thought, I actually really like you in movies. Now I'm looking at you a bit side-eye, like, why are you in such high regard of this man? Like, these people, it's all about, oh, he put me in the best movie. He writes the best scripts. He's out of, he thinks out of the box. It's just
because it's about being seen. You have to remember, he didn't pick the prettiest of actresses, right? He didn't pick ugly girls, but he didn't pick the prettiest of actresses. And at that time, you had to be pretty.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah,
I mean, let's see. No, we're not gonna say that. I'm gonna wait till Monday to talk about that one because that one's foolishness.
Because obviously going back to because she's broken up. You see, yeah. That's awful.
Yeah. And Lisa Rinna, good. Yeah. Give Me Shelter, good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people were dying at 55.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it wasn't just that. It's because the culture was different. And if you go to
breed up. Yeah. Have babies young.
Yeah.
And you're a housewife.
Yeah, there was ask like, let's say 70 years ago, it wasn't uncommon for a 14-year-old to be with a 20-year-old. It wasn't uncommon. I mean, people back then thought once you got your period, you was grown.
Yeah.
You were ready. Yeah. There's people that think that now when you go to certain countries. You're ready.
Age.
You better grow up. You know what I mean? And get it together is what they expect because you're bleeding.
Yeah. You're breeding.
You're ready to have babies, remember, and conceive, isn't it? So, but yeah, go on.
I think that with the Diane Keaton, her being in his film did really good for her because she was in The Godfather. She's been in a lot of stuff. And
this is what she said. That's what she said. Because of Woody Allen, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Like, she really thanks him for putting her out there. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been made it the way she did.
No.
Because remember, you saying you've worked with him makes your curriculum, your CV look better on paper, right? Yeah. Your profile,
Your profile. They all wanted to work with him. Now they're all jumping ship. Oh, he's a pedophile. Look, they knew he was like this before. The rumors were out there a long time before. He married his stepdaughter. That was the biggest sign. You watch this girl going to school and they're having sex with her when she's in her school uniform across the schools across the road from where you live. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
That's not a coincidence. They were all complicit. Now they're all jumping ship. Oh, let's donate our salaries. Listen, you enjoyed that money. It's too late to donate, Jack. Yeah? You enjoyed that money back then. The money was well spent. You had a good time. You brought up your PR. Your profile was well polished. Now all of a sudden, I want nothing to do with him. That's BS. Total
and
BS.
they're donating the money to charity. I mean,
but they're not donating the money that they made at the time. If they were so disgusted when they got paid that first paycheck and they realized, this guy is not who he says he is, why not donate the money then? It's too late. It's too late. Everybody wants to clear their name and not be tainted with Woody Allen.
You know that Diane Keaton, she dated him, right?
I can
see.
He
must have done the way she talks to him. Yeah.
I don't know. I just find that he's just very unremarkable. Like, I don't know. His films are very unremarkable. They're not memorable. It's not something that I'm like, there's a new Woody Allen film. Let me go see it. It's going to be so great. My mind is going to be.
Apparently, he only makes movies abroad now in Europe, and they do
all
all right. But he only does movies in Europe a lot. Yeah.
Listen, he knew his time. Listen, they used him for what they used him. Now they can't just make these sobby, no offense, white people, white movies. You know, he used to make those sad white movies. He was like Taylor Swift in movie form. So now that you can't sell that anymore because don't nobody want to see it, they said, oh, he had this pedophile, let's get him out. And that's what they did.
Yeah. I believe so too. When Hollywood's ready to spit you up and throw you out, they do that whenever they're ready. It's like they'll make use of you as much as they want until they're ready. Like, if you don't fit the narrative, they will throw you under the bus. Just like they did, what's his name, Bill Cosby and all of them. But the fact that they put Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson in there was kind of like, why do they always have to associate the white man rapist with the black man rapist? I don't understand. Why?
Because they're trying to make themselves feel better.
Why do they do that? Leave that alone. Michael Jackson has had plenty of documentaries done about him. We're not talking about Michael Jackson. We're talking about Woody Allen here.
They did the Michael Jackson because he's the one that most people don't believe. That's the one they've never been really able to stick. The Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
The majority of people don't believe it. And then the Hollywood machine just, you know, gives you pure propaganda when they make stuff with Michael Jackson. It's a lot of hearsay. It's a lot of things that don't chronological, because they did that Finding Neverland. And I mean, people, you know, his stance is something dangerous. They went line by line and said, no, this is a lie. This is a lie. So they did that.
People love Michael Jackson. He's not to be played with. You're not going to just, because you know what? At the end of the day, they can trample Michael Jackson all they like. But all I remembered growing up is that he did a lot for Africa. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. He was before my time.
What?
You know what? You know what?
Michael Jackson, waste my child.
Let's wrap it up so I can talk to her backstage because she is just right. So thanks everybody for the support. Hey, you included, Ablavi, and let's wrap it up. It was a good conversation. You know what, guys? I'd like to get some new people on the line. So you guys stop being so shy in the chat and get involved next time. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for keeping the chat busy. Sly Cat, Give Me Shelter, and who else? Damsel in Distress. You guys are always having good conversations on there. Some good points for us as well to talk about. Thanks, Diali, for coming on. Leslie, Ablavi. You guys know Ablavi. Follow her. She's always on one. Very entertaining. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. What's it called? Murder Among the Mormons, or should we do the college scandal one?
The college scandal, because I've watched that.
Right?
I watched Murder Among the Mormons.
Because today, I've watched both, so we'll do either or. I mean, I'll do both probably, but I'll do the Mormons all in one. I won't go episode to episode. I'll just do it all. See, Give Me Shelter says, what's next? So, I'll probably do let's talk about the thingy scandal and just go in on this. Lori Loughlin. Listen, I'm going to make a list of all the names in the news. It was only, Lori Loughlin and bloody Desperate Housewife who were the main faces, right? But there were so many rich businessmen, people who had money that we didn't know nothing about, that aren't necessarily famous, that were involved. So it was good. I was very sick when your live. Thank you, Sly Cat. And the distraction helped. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for your support, Sly Cat. But we'll get in on the college scandal thing. I'm going to do a bit of research on it. I've watched it already. So, if you haven't already, watch it. Check it out on Netflix. It's called The Varsity Blues. What was it? Come on, help me out.
I don't know what it was called.
You know what? The Varsity Blues. Oh God! Hold on.
Is that what it's up right now?
Yeah, it's called Operation Varsity Blues: The College Admission Scandal. So look that up and check it out. And then yeah, we'll discuss that. Maybe tomorrow it's Sunday, so I'll probably do it Monday. So just check me out on Monday, usually around the time. Yeah, just check out the notifications. Hit the notifications bell, and then hopefully you'll know when I come on. Like, share, and subscribe. So yeah, thanks for the support. See you guys soon. Take care. On 3. Bye.
Bye.